All right. All right. So, yeah, more about your creative process and like how you begin.
Ah, and and thank you, Edward, for all these questions. I thought that usually I would get the instrumentation and
Mhm.
the length that would be asked for, and then I will come up with an idea of what kind of image and style would fit into these requirements. Because when I know that I would write for specific performing forces, and so that is important for me. And then I would collect all this information first and came up with my ideas and imaginations. And then I write them down in my paper to
Mm,
choose what would fit this subject the most effectively. So
mm.
that would be my beginning of my procedure.
Great. So, is there a piece you would like to share the key themes you explored?
Yeah, and that's why I have emailed you a PPT
Mm-hmm.
of my Gershie and Tiffany. That shows the culture behind which I had learned and studied and researched on. And then I took the elements from those resources and I try to combine um, the style and technique and language into my writing for Western orchestra in that piece. And so that's why I show you the details, where the resource came from and what I have done to write for the orchestra. So you may explore more details from the PPT document.
Thank you. So, how do you approach creating compositions that resonate across diverse global audiences while staying true to your identity?
I think that if I speak in my natural language, like what's my mother tongue and what I have learned in my life, I thought that if I combine this naturally, I don't mean artificially.
Mm-hmm.
It would be my way to speak to my audience. And I think that also that is honest and frank um, to speak out from my heart. And so that would touch myself and also touch my musicians as well as the audience.
Right, great. So next, are there any new directions or unexplored areas within music composition that you're excited to go into in your future projects?
I think that I would like to do more research on different cultures, like the resource. I don't think I have learned enough as to get inspiration, as to get deeply into the cultures. I thought that I need to do more research
Mm.
deeply. That is what I am doing and what I will be doing.
So, in your opinion, what are the biggest challenges faced by contemporary composers and performers within the classical music industry today?
Ah, I think that uh, to learn more repertoire from the history and broaden our views to learn contemporary music. And those are pretty challenging because we need time, we need energy. And although we are in this internet era and we know everything quickly, and still we need time and to digest. I thought that to learn to study, it needs time and patience,
Mm,
and we really need this in our education.
mm. Thank you. So, are there any emerging trends or movements that you believe will impact the contemporary genre positively?
I think that nowadays many culture merger the confluences and would be very important for us. And so I think that is also the major trend that would lead us to combine them or get influences between them, from them. I thought that the combination would be the trend
Mm,
for us to explore more cultures. It is the trend and also the need.
right, right. So how can contemporary classical music be more accessible to a wider audience? Are there any like specific strategies you think will be effective?
I think that uh, to do more educational work to different layers of audiences
Hmm.
in the society. I thought that is very important because I treat the arts and music not only entertainment. I
Hmm.
treat them as educational somehow, although we don't force people to accept any kind of concept or ideas. We need to give more inspiration to more people who may want to get education from. I thought that the civilization still plays a very important role in our society.
Mm. So what is your vision for the future of music composition with like AI technology or any kind of technology? What are like the pros and cons?
I can see that many people have been doing this research,
Hmm.
and some people have been doing the practice already, uh, particularly for commercial use. I thought that they would save labor, like save time and energy and resource as well for that kind of jobs. And
Hmm.
but for like an individual thinking ideas and psychologically considering a unique voice, it still needs us to do more research.
Right.
I don't think the AI would, at least not currently, would replace human beings' motion, emotion, or this thinking and styles, because I do think that artistic creation would call for a lot of individual thinking psychologically.
Right.
And that would be the whole combination of your education and your influences, and also after the digestion, I think that the outcome would be different
Hmm.
from what the AI would do.
Hmm. I totally agree. So are there any outreach programs or educational initiatives that you find like promising in promoting contemporary music?
I have seen a lot of very interesting programs promoting classical music, promoting different genres of classical music, and even when you say categories,
Hmm.
for example, symphonic work and vocal works, like a choral, is a totally a huge society for that culture. And also chamber music and world music, I would say a lot of instrumental music and vocal music from different cultures outside of classical music, or these would become a combination. And also my students started using jazz and country music, all these elements put into the writing of classical regular instrumentations
Mm.
and chamber instrumentations. I thought that this is very good opportunity for us as educators because I do think that educational tools which would explore more possibilities for new creations. Nowadays, you can see a lot of programs promoting underrepresented, underrepresented composers or underrepresented genres and areas and styles and techniques.
Mhm.
I do think that those are very important for our next generations to learn, to know.
Mhm. So a lot of music students like myself do not know how to start or how to understand modern classical music. Do you have any tips for them?
I think a broader range of listening,
Mm,
uh, uh, studying would be very helpful. For example, my undergraduate program, in which freshman and sophomore composition classes would have a weekly listening lab, uh, which you can explore much larger repertoire, like what not what you would listen to as an entertainment daily. And because weekly you are taught or you would be shared with some new music repertoire from a huge repertoire because we took some are representative or the very how do I say it became very like a classical repertoire already, which
mm,
we need to learn from the history
mm,
and also from the contemporary society. I do think that that kind of listening is very helpful.
mm. Sounds great. So, final question, do you have any composers in mind who you think were underrepresented and should be remembered?
Ooh, that would be a very big subject. And because I love for so many
Right.
music uh, pieces, and also my professor Zhou Wenzhong, Chouwen, Chung, who is Chinese American,
Mm-hmm.
who passed away in 2019. And his music is not played very much, although it was very prestigious during the 50s. He was the first Chinese American composer
Oh, wow.
uh, who was well known in the West,
Mm.
particularly in the States. And as a Korean, you know, is Yi Sang-yong, right?
Yeah.
You
Right.
know him. Yeah, I know him too. I know him pretty well and his music as well. I put his CDs to libraries where I go. And Professor Zhou who is a Chinese American, who was my professor, one of my professors at Columbia University, where I went to get my doctoral degree.
Mm-hmm.
And so, what's very special is that he was a pioneer of combining Chinese traditional culture uh, from the old style, like the intellectual style, to contemporary composition technique. So-called, you mentioned all the contemporary sound and technique. He was the pioneer of doing this, and he was a student of Varese, Edgar Varese, who is a French American. And I think that this would be the thing we need to do more research and to hear more in order to learn the insight and the philosophy behind that for the culture, for the development of the culture, as well as the how do I say preserving the traditions in order to do more work for the confluence new culture.
Mm-hmm.